गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear friends, we are reading this mantra number 3 of the second khanda of Kenopanishad, the second part of Kenopanishad, the third mantra. Yasya amatam tasya matam, matam yasya na vedasaha, avijñātam vijānatam vijñātam avijānatam. In the last class I explained the mantra, then we also started reading the bhashyam. The first line is over, that is yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasaha. The first line bhashyam we completely read. The second line is now being discussed, avijñātam vijānatam, that is the second line. So here Shankaracharya is pointing out that the Shruti, that is the scripture, is talking about two types of people: those who think they know and those who think they do not know. So avijñātam vijānatam. So vijānatam means for those who really know, they feel that this is something which is avijñātam. It is not something which is not known. It is something which is not cognized by the senses. It is not something which is objective, which is to be objectified. So that is how they know it. It is not known. That's what they think. Then vijñātam, avijānatam, for those who do not really know, they think that it is something vijñātam. Yes, I have written a mighty book, I have written a book something about my religion. So you conceptualize God in a particular way and then you present that God in a beautiful manner and then you think it is vijñātam. So what you have visualized by your senses, your imagination, and then you have projected a picture of Swarga, you have projected a picture of heaven, hell, etc. All that structure of God, everything you have mentioned. So that is vijñātam. He thinks that it is known. It is known by his indriya, manas and buddhi. So that man really does not know. So that is that line we have been reading. Vijñātam viditam brahma avijānatam asamyak darshinam indriya mano buddhishveva atmadarsinam ityartha. We read this line. I think this last line we read. What type of people are they? Indriya mano buddhishuveva atmadarsinam. They rely on their buddhi, they rely on their intellect in order to conceptualize Brahman. So that type of people. But then Shruti is not talking about totally ignoramus. Suppose there is a total ignoramus. So the Shruti is not talking about such a man. The Shruti is talking about very serious people. Very serious people, one group of people, they think that they know. These are also very, very hard-working people. So they know that Viditam Brahma. That Viditam Brahma is that Alpam Brahma. The Brahmeva Pinunam, that Daharam Rupam, they do know. And some other people, they know that it is something which cannot be objectified. So Shruti is talking about very serious people, but among serious people, there is somebody who really knows, somebody who doesn't know. So anyway, that's what he says. Natu atyantameva vyutpanna buddhinam. Shruti is not talking about totally a man. It is not talking about somebody who is a man on the street, somebody who is not at all having any idea of what is Brahman. So absolutely most of the people, 90% of the people or most of the people or more than 90% of the people, if you just touch them, you touch a highly religious man and you ask him what is Brahman. So he may not be knowing anything about Vedantic idea of Brahma. He may tell something about Brahma, who is the four-headed Brahma, who is the husband of Saraswati and who is supposed to be the creator, and then who sits in that say lotus which has come out of Vishnu's belly. So that sort of story he will tell, but he doesn't know what exactly is the Vedantic meaning of Brahma. So the Vedantic meaning of Brahma is totally different, and what the common man thinks of Brahma is totally different. So this Shruti, Shankaracharya is saying that the Shruti is not talking about the ordinary man. Shruti is talking about fairly serious people who are discussing the nature of Brahma. So we stopped at this point,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
Let us read. Nahi tesham vijñātam asmabhihi brahma iti matirbhavati. Okay, nahi tesham vijñātam asmabhihi brahma. So I should have read like that. Nahi tesham vijñātam asmabhihi brahma iti matirbhavati. So for those people, the man on the street, the ordinary man, he may be a highly religious man, he may be highly following all the rituals, etc. But then for him, vijñātam asmabhihi brahma, this thing, this Brahma is known to us. So that sort of mati, that sort of understanding, mati means understanding, that matihi na bhavati, it will not be there, because he has never bothered to know what it is. He has only bothered to follow certain rituals, follow certain code of conduct. Even that is good. We are not talking that it is something bad. He is something, he is following some rules, he is a law-abiding, God-fearing, let us say, God-fearing person who is actually contributing to the smooth conduct of the society. We are not having any problem with him. So anyway, so let us read the next line. Indriya mano buddhyupadishu atmadarshinaam tu brahmopadhi vivekanupalambat buddhyadyupadhescha विज्ञातत्वात् विदितं ब्रह्म इति उपपद्यते भ्रान्तिः इत्यतः असम्यक् दर्शनं पूर्वपक्षत्वेन उपन्यस्यते विज्ञातम् अविजानताम् इति. Okay, so he says Vijñātam Avijánatam is the Purvapaksha. Purvapaksha in the sense something which has to be rejected. Vijñātam Avijánatam. That is, those Avijánatam means for those who really do not know, they think that it is Vijñātam. It is known. So this is something which is to be rejected. And who are they? Who are they? They think like that. Indriya Mano Buddhi Upadhishu Atmadarshina. Indriya, Manas and Buddhi, what are they? They are the Upadhis. Upadhi, it is basically a sort of a reflecting medium. Indriya is a reflecting medium. The consciousness has to work on it, and then the so-called Indriya Vritti. Suppose Chakshur Vritti, let us say. What is the Chakshur Vritti? Vritti itself is Jada. Vritti by itself is Jada. It is illumined by the Chaitanya. When it is associated with the Chaitanya only, Antahkarana Vachinna Chaitanyam, Vrittya Vachinna Chaitanyam, Vishaya Vachinna Chaitanyam. We talk about three types of Chaitanya whenever there is a cognition. Isn't it? So that Vrittya Vachinna Chaitanyam, that is the Chaitanyam which is delimited by this Vritti. Vritti itself is Jada. It is something like some sort of magnetic wave. There is some carrier for that magnetic. I am not sure whether there is a carrier or otherwise. But anyway, let us suppose there is a wave, say electricity. There is a carrier for that. That is, carrier is some copper wire. So something like that. So this is it is just an upadhi, whereas electricity itself is something different. So similarly, Indriya, Manas and Buddhi, they are merely upadhis. They are the delimiting adjuncts or delimiting factors. So, Atmadarshinam tu Brahmopadhi Viveka Anupalambhat. So, this is Brahma plus Upadhi Viveka Anupalambhat. They have no Viveka. Viveka means discrimination. They cannot discriminate between what is Brahma and what is Upadhi. So, that is, they are not able to distinguish between the Chaitanyam which is actually reflecting on these things and the carriers. That is, you are not making a distinction between the copper wire and the electricity. You are not making a distinction between the screen which is there in a cinema hall and the light. So it is an upadhi only. So this light, it is so many pixels are going and just falling there, creating so many impressions. So this is purely light. So unless there is an upadhi, it cannot be known. So upadhi is something which is enabling us to realize. So that of course we are going to see in the next mantra. Next mantra is saying, then how else can Brahma be known? So that question is being answered in the next mantra. So here, Brahmopadhi Viveka Anupalambhat. Anupalambha means lack of knowledge. Anupalabdhi means absence. Anupalabdhi actually means absence, abhava. Anupalambhat means because of the absence of this discrimination between say Brahma and Upadhi. So these people, they have no idea, they can't discriminate between what exactly is pure consciousness and what is the Upadhi. So because of that reason, Buddhya Upadhescha Vijñātatvat. So they know only these Upadhis. Vijñātatvat means because that alone is known. What is known? Buddhi Adi Upadhi. Buddhya Upadhescha Vijñātatvat. So this Buddhi etc. they are the Upadhis. Only they are known. So every man, usually what do we think normally? Normally we think that the mind is what constitutes a person, isn't it? Mind means what? Mind means over a period of time, right from the time of your say birth, so many impressions have accumulated in your mind. So all those impressions have accumulated, and then they have created some sort of impressions. They have created some impressions, and these impressions are called Vasana. They are called Vasana. Vasati. They dwell there. They dwell in your mind. They are rooted in your mind. So that is why they are called Vasanas. Vasana in Telugu we use it in a wrong sense. Vasana for smell. So Vasati. So that is why it is called Vasana. It dwells there. Samskara. That it is another word for Vasana is Samskara. They are there imprinted. They are there imprinted on the mind. And then whenever you look at a thing, you are already having a determined view on that. You look at a pen, naturally I don't think it is a fruit to be eaten. The moment I look at it, that samskara is there in my mind that it is something which I have to write. If I am a person who is interested in pens etc., I will take this pen and then I start writing. So that samskara or vasana, these are all imprinted. So what do we normally think about a person? A person is nothing but his mind. That is what we think. So but here, this mind in Vedanta is a jada padartha. This jada, it is only a reflecting medium. It is only the consciousness which is enabling you to know all these things. And then if you want to realize that your real nature, you have to get rid of all this baggage. You have to get rid of all the baggage of these vasanas and samskaras. That is what is called Mano Nasha. Vidyaranya calls it Mano Nasha. In what is that book? That is Jivan Mukti Viveka. In that Jivan Mukti Viveka, he calls it Mano Nasha. Vasanakshayamu, Mano Nashamu, that is what he calls it. That Mano Nasha. That is eradicating what all has accumulated over a period of time. All these vasanas have to be sent away. So that is what is the thing. All these vasanas means not some harmless vasana about a pen. Vasanas means not something really recognizing a pen, not that you will totally, you will refuse to recognize a pen or you will fail to recognize a pen. It's not like that. You will not recognize things like love, hatred, so all those things, raga, dvesha, etc., all those shad urmi as we call it, all those things you reject, but not normal impressions. So this buddhya upadhescha vijñātatvat, because what is known is only this buddhi adi upadhi. So normally in psychology, whenever you define a personality, it is the mind only. Personality is what is there in his mind. So that is how we say rate or we categorize a person, isn't it? So then viditam brahma iti upapadyate bhrantihi. So for such person, this viditam brahma iti bhrantihi. So this sort of delusion, this sort of wrong impression that I know Brahman, this is something which is justified, appropriate in his case. For such a man who is unable to make a distinction between Chaitanya and Upadhi, for such a person, this bhranti or delusion is something which is understandable. It is not justified. We don't say it is justified, it is understandable. Iti upapadyate bhrantihi. It is just understandable in his case. Ityataha, because of that, asamyak darshanam purvapakshatvena upanyasate. So this vijñātam avijānatam is being proposed as a sort of purvapaksha. That is something which has to be negated, which has to be rejected. Then athava
अथवा
हेत्वर्थः
हेत्वर्थः
उत्तरार्धो
उत्तरार्धो
अविज्ञातम् इत्यादिः.
अविज्ञातम् इत्यादिः.
Or else, Shankaracharya is just saying it can also be interpreted or it can also be taken as a hetvartha. Hetvartha means in the sense of it is providing a hetu. Hetu means cause. It is providing a sort of reason for say the earlier for the other statement. Suppose there are two statements. Suppose I say in logic there are two words called pratignya and hetu. Pratignya, hetu, udaharana, etc., etc. These are words. If you understand a logical syllogism, syllogism, you know what is a logical syllogism? We have earlier discussed. Sometimes, somewhere in Gita Bhashya or some other Bhashya, I think I have told there is what is called a logical syllogism. Syllogism is you make a statement, Parvato Vanhiman. That Parvata is having say fire on it. How? That is Dhumat or Dhumavatvat, whatever it is. Dhumat, because there is say smoke. So that is the cause. The first line is called Pratignya. The first line is called Pratignya, a statement. Pratignya does not mean swearing. Pratignya in Telugu again we use it wrongly. Pratignya is a statement. Parvato Vanhiman. That statement is justified by a hetu or a reason. That reason is Dhumat. Then Udaharana. Yatra yatra dhumah tatra tatra agnihi. That is what is called Uda. That is something. Yatha Mahanase. So that is what we say. Yatha Mahanase means just as in the case of a kitchen. So that is an example. So that is an example. There is a statement. All these things, pratigya, hetu, udaharana, nigamana, all these words are we find in logic. So here, if you see that, athava hetvarthaha uttarardhaha avijñātam ityadi. So this avijñātam vijānatam ityadi, this can be treated as a sort of hetvartha. Earlier he has made a statement. What is that statement? Pratignya. It is known to some person it is known to the person who says it is avijñātam. So that is the pratignya. You can note down if you want. Pratignya or the statement is it is known to the of course it does not make any great difference in our understanding of the thing. Pratignya is it is known to the person who says it is avijñātam. It is known to the person who is saying it is avijñātam. Avijñātam is that which cannot be cognized by the senses. Then hetu, that is reason is because it is unknown to the person who says it is vijñātam. Because it is unknown to the person who says it is well known. So that is a hetvartha, just hetu udaharana. Parvato vanhiman dhumat. So that is a simple explanation. So then, next line, avijñātam vijānatam
अविज्ञातं विजानताम्
इति अवधृतम् यदि ब्रह्म अत्यन्तमेव अविज्ञातं लौकिकानां ब्रह्मविदां च अविशेषः प्राप्तः अविज्ञातं विजानताम् इति च परस्पर विरुद्धम् कथं तु तत् ब्रह्म सम्यक् विदितं भवति इत्येवमर्थम् आह. So this is a small avatarika for the fourth mantra. So now, so what all we know so far, Shankaracharya is saying, we know so far that avijñātam vijānatam. Somebody who knows, who says, somebody who really knows, he says that it is avijñātam. Iti avadhrutam. Avadhrutam means it is well established. Avadharana. Avadharana means establishing. Iti avadhrutam means it has been established. Then yadi brahma atyantameva avijñātam. If it is totally unknowable, avijñātam, if it is totally unknown or unknowable, then what is the remedy? Then why are we reading the books? Why are we reading the scripture? Why should you go to a teacher? Why should you go to Upanishad class? That is the point. यदि ब्रह्म अत्यंतमेव अविज्ञातं लौकिकानां ब्रह्मविदां च अविशेषः. So you can't say see any sort of distinction between vishesha means distinction, avishesha means no distinction. Vishesha actually means distinguishing feature, vishesha. Avishesha means there is no distinguishing feature. Then laukikanam what is this? Brahmavidam cha. avishesha. Then there is no distinction, there is no difference between an Ajnani and a Jnani, isn't it? If Brahman is something which just is not known, not knowable, there is no great difference between an Ajnani and a Jnani. So that is what we find sometimes in movies also, some songs. There is no difference between a learned man and a cowherd. So something like that. A learned man who is very much learned in various scriptures but he really does not understand. So there is no great difference between him and say some cowherd, cowboy. So something like that. So anyway, Laukikanam Brahmavidam cha avishesha praptaha. There is no distinction. You can't make out anything. Then avijñātam vijānatam iti cha paraspara viruddham. This is something which is a paradoxical statement. So then, how? Katham tu, in which case, katham tu tad brahma samyak viditam bhavati. How will it be known? So that is the basic question. So the next, the mantra is going to say that it is possible to realize Brahma as your own Swarupa. The next mantra, the sum and substance of the next mantra is, if you want, you can just note down also, the sum and substance of the next mantra is, it is possible to realize Brahma as your own Swarupa, as your own real nature. And that is what is illumining all your thoughts, illumining all your cognitions. Because Brahma is something which cannot be experienced in the normal sense of the word. In the normal sense of the word, what is meant by an experiencing something? Experiencing something means you are seeing something and then it is becoming an object of your knowledge and then you say, I know this. Anuvyavasaya jnanam, they say in logic. So that is that sort of knowledge where this aham, this knower, the jnata is there. There is an object, this prameya is there. Pramata, I am there. And pramanam, this jnanam is also there. So there is a triputi, jnata, jnanam, gneyam, pramata, prameyam, pramanam. So this sort of triputi, this sort of triad we call it, though this sort of triputi is there. So in Brahmajnana, there cannot be such triputi. In Brahmajnana, you cannot say, I experience Brahman, because the moment you say, I know Brahman, what you know is not Brahman. What you know is not Brahma. When you say, I know Brahma, you are delimiting Brahma. And or you are making yourself zero, you are making yourself shunya, because Brahma is infinite and you can't isolate yourself from infinite, and whatever can be isolated from infinite is only shunya, isn't it? So which means that this triputi disappears in the case of Brahmajnana. So this aham itself is not there. So the aham, it has to remain as jnana swarupa. So in Brahmajnana and the normal jnana, this is the basic difference. In normal jnana, there is a triputi. In Brahmajnana, the knower disappears. For some time you may practice, you may watch all your thoughts coming and going in meditation. That is what is taught in meditation also. You keep on observing all your thoughts, let all these thoughts coming and going, all these things, you be a sakshi to all that. Okay, ultimately you remain with the feeling that you are the sakshi. Even that has to disappear. Even that sakshihood or sakshidam has to disappear, and you have to be pure awareness only. So that is what ultimately is jnana swarupa means. So this Brahma, in what manner has to be known? So katham tu tad Brahma samyak viditam bhavati ityevam artham aha. So let us read the next mantra. Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate mrutam. Okay, so here this is probably the most important mantra in this Kenopanishad. Probably the most important mantra, because Shankaracharya has dwelt quite a bit on this mantra. So he is giving, say the Paksham. First of all, he is giving the Siddhanta. In the very first paragraph, he is telling the Siddhanta, and thereafter he is going to the Purva Paksha of the Tarkikas, Bauddhas, etc., etc. So he is going to discuss that. So this fairly elaborate commentary has been written by Sri Shankaracharya on this shloka. And then this actually summarizes what exactly is not summarizes, it gives in a very gist as to how exactly Brahma is cognized. So here the first line Pratibodha Viditam Matam. There are 4 parts here. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Next is Amrutatvam hi Vindate. Atmana Vindate Viryam. 3rd part. Vidyaya Vindate Amrutam. That is the 4th part. The whole Bhashya, almost 90% of the Bhashya is only on the first part. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. The other 3 things are very, they follow. They are like corollaries. In a mathematical theorem or something, if you see, the main theorem is proved, and from that theorem you have got so many corollaries. So something like corollaries. So this Pratibodha Viditam Matam. So this Matam, this word, this particular line you have to understand. Matam means, what is Matam? So we have seen earlier, what is that mantra? Yasya Matam Tasya Matam. Matam. Matam is from the root Manu Dhatu. Manu means to think, to conceptualize, to visualize. So this is the thing. Matam means Manu plus Kta. Kta Pratyaya. If you add Kta Pratyaya, it becomes Matam. That is well known. Yasya Amatam Tasya Matam. That is what we read in an earlier mantra. That is, the one who says it is not known, Tasya Matam. It is known to him. Tasya for him. Matam. It is known. So Matam means it is known. So let us take this word first. Matam. Matam means it is known. It is the right concept, right understanding. That is what is the meaning here. Here the meaning is, Matam means it is the proper understanding. It is Samyak Jnanam, as we call it. We call it Samyak Jnanam, isn't it? Matam. For whom? In what context? Pratibodha Viditam. Pratibodha Viditam means, if this thing called Brahman is known in every cognition. So you may note down also Pratibodha, this, because this particular line, unless you know the sequence, it will be confusing. So you can just wrote down, Matam means it is well known. It is well known, or it is the Samyak Jnanam. Then when Pratibodha Viditam, you can write down Pratibodha Viditam is equal to only when, or if it is known. If it is known as the inner self of every cognition. If it is known as the inner self of every cognition. So when someone realizes that this one means this Brahma means consciousness. If you realize that this consciousness is there behind every cognition, Brahma is the very self, Brahma is the very Atma, Pratyagatmataya, the Bhashyam is going to say, Brahman is the very Atma, the very self of every cognition. You have a Ghata Jnanam, you see Ghata Jnanam. When you see a Ghatam means pot. Let us use the word Ghatam for any object. When you have a knowledge of an object, what do you think normally? We normally think that, okay, when I am seeing a pot, I am seeing a pot. Whereas the Upanishad says, when you are seeing a pot, you are seeing Brahman. Just follow that. You are not seeing an object, you are seeing Brahman. Pratibodha Viditam. I will further explain. It is well known if you realize Pratibodha. Pratibodha means, Prati means every. Telugu word only Prati. Prati, every. Bodha. Bodha means cognition, understanding. Pratibodha Viditam. In every Bodha, it is Viditam. In every Bodha or in every understanding, it is known, it is understood. As what? That is the self of every cognition. So in that manner it is understood. When it is understood by anybody, when it is understood by you, that whatever cognition you are doing, the underlying thing is consciousness only. Consciousness is the base, consciousness is the substratum, that is the very Atma. Either it is Antahkarana Vachina Chaitanyam, or Vrutya Vachina Chaitanyam, or Vishaya Vachina Chaitanyam. These three are something like Upadhis. These three are Upadhis only, these are all Jada. And then this Antahkarana is something like that, consciousness is something like the electricity which passes through all these things and then makes that cognition possible. So that is it. So when you know a Ghatam, You are not merely knowing a ghatam, but if you are a jnani, if you are a jnani, that is the point. If you are a jnani, you are knowing that it is the Chaitanya, this is Brahma Chaitanya, which is the very self of every cognition. So that is the meaning. When you know a part, you only know a part, an ordinary man. But a jnani, he knows the part, but at the same time he also knows that it is Brahman. It is Brahma consciousness, which is the very self of every cognition. So this first line, is it over? Is it understood? Because of course we are going to see Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. I will read out all the lines and explain. This is in summary, in say brief, in a capsule form, I am just giving this meaning. So this is actually a statement for our Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Pratibodha Viditam Matam is a statement which is for our own Mananam. It means that Matam, I will again say, Matam means it is well known. If it is known to be the very self of every cognition. So that is the meaning. A person, we can say it is well known, if he knows that behind every cognition there is this Brahma, there is this consciousness, the very self of every cognition is this. So when you see a ghata, you are not only seeing a ghata, you are seeing Brahman. So that is the basic point. Then the second line is, the question is, how can you say that it is Samyak Jnanam? He is giving a reason. Amrutatvam hi vindate. He, we know. He means yasmat. He means because. Yasmat. Amrutatvam vindate. By knowing that this consciousness is the very self of every cognition, a person is realizing Amrutatvam. Amrutatvam is immortality. He is realizing immortality because he is realizing that his nature is that of consciousness. His nature is that of that Shuddha Brahma Swarupa, Jnana Swarupa, and then this body, mind, complex, etc., they are all upadhis, and then he is Amruta by nature. Have you followed? Amrutatvam hi vindate. Because this is Pratibodha Viditam Matam is a statement. Then here also Amrutatvam hi vindate, this is Hetvartha. Like Shankaracharya said earlier, he is giving a reason for that. The mantra is giving a reason. He means yasmat, because Amrutatvam vindate. Such a man, he realizes his Amrutatva. He realizes his Amrutatva. Once he realizes his Amrutatva, these other things are very, very small. Atmana vindate viryam. Viryam means strength. Atmana vindate viryam. By this knowledge of Atman, a person becomes strong. This Atma Jnana is not going to make you weak. This Atma Jnana is going to make you strong. Because once you know that it is something, this is Nasato Vidyate Bhavo, what is that? Gita shlokas are there, isn't it? What is this? Nahanyate hanyamane sharire, nayam hanti nahanyate, etc., all those things. Only a bold man can say, not a weak man. So, Atmana vindate viryam, Vidyaya vindate amrutam. Vidya, by this knowledge of the self, vindate amrutam. Amrutatvam is again a slightly different words the Shruti is saying. So in this whole mantra, this first part, Pratibodha Viditam, is the key. Pratibodha Viditam Matam, that is the key. That is the key statement rather. If you understand that statement, all other things will fall in line. That first line, is it clear? Okay. Then let us see the Bhashyam. Pratibodha Viditam. Bodham Prati Viditam. Bodha Shabdena. Bauddhaha Pratyayah Uchyante. So here he says, Pratibodha Viditam. In every cognition, it is known. Bodham Prati. Pratibodha is a samasa. Pratibodha Viditam. Bodham Prati Viditam. Samasa is being explained by Shankaracharya. That is, in every cognition, it is known. Viditam. Then what is Bodha? Bodha Shabdena Bauddhaha Pratyayah Uchyante. Bauddhaha Pratyayah. Bauddha does not mean our Buddhas. Buddhists. Bauddhas means something which is associated with Buddhi is Bauddha. It is called a Tadhita Pratyaya. You must have heard of Tadhita Pratyaya in grammar. Dasharatha is the word. Dasharathi is a derivative. Tadhita derivative. Tadhita derivative is Dasharathi. Vasudeva is the original word. Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva is a derivative. There is something like Pavana, Pavani, Maruta, Maruti. So all these things are derivatives, Tadhita pratyayas. So Buddha means something which is a person who knows. The person who is an awakened one, he is called Buddha. Buddha Dhatu. From that Buddha Dhatu, this Buddha comes. Buddha is something which is awakened. Then Bauddha, something to do with Buddhi or Buddha is called Bauddha. Bauddha pratyayah. That is all cognition. Pratyaya here is awareness. Pratyaya is awareness, understanding, cognition. You can use any term. Vritti also you can say. Of course, there is a slight difference between vritti and understanding. Vritti is this antahkarana vritti, it is still in that form, vritti process only. And then when that vritti is known to you, it becomes a pratyaya. It becomes a cognition, proper cognition. So, Bauddha pratyaya uchyante. Uchyante means they are told. Bauddha pratyaya told means indicated. By the word bodha, you are now referring to these cognitions. Then, sarve pratyayaha
सर्वे प्रत्ययाः
विषयी भवन्ति यस्य स आत्मा सर्वबोधान् प्रतिबुध्यते. So this Atma is something which is known through every pratyaya. Ya sarve pratyayah vishayi bhavanti yasya. That is, all these cognitions, they are becoming objects. They are becoming part and parcel of it. They are being swallowed by it. Vishayi bhavanti. Vishayi bhavanti yasya sa atma. This consciousness is something which is illumining all these cognitions. Sarve pratyayaha, all these cognitions, vishayi bhavanti, that is, they become part of it. They become objectified. They become known. Vishayi bhavanti means it becomes a vishaya. All this pratyaya itself becomes a vishaya to this atma. Sarva bodhan prati buddhyate. That is, sarva bodhan prati means through them only. Through every bodha. Through all these bodha, buddhyate. Buddhyate means it is known. This Atma is known only through these bodhas. You again take an example of the same electricity. How do you know that there is electricity? Unless it is shining in a bulb, or unless it is known through a fan, or unless it is known through something else, you do not know the presence of it. Or if you have seen Maya Sabha, you must have seen Maya Sabha movie, where Duryodhana walks in that Maya Sabha, and then he first sees a water pond. In the middle of the building, he sees a nice pond, just still water. So he thinks there is water there, and then he slowly tries to step on that. Then he thinks that it is glass, and then he confidently walks on that. And then next time when he sees a similar pond, he also walks on that, but then he falls into the pond, isn't it? So why? Because water is so still. Water can be known only if there is some movement in that. Suppose you see totally still water, you do not know. Like you have glasses in your office. There is a glass in your office and you just do not know unless there is some small marking on that, or unless it is some ground glass or something like that, you cannot know. You will bump into that. So like that, unless there is some sort of ripple in that, you will not notice. You will not notice that there is water there. So that is where Duryodhana also committed a mistake. So keep that example of Duryodhana if you want to understand this. Sarva bodhan prati buddhyate. So it is known through these bodhas only. Unless there is some movement, it is not known. Still water, it is not known. Taranga, if there is some taranga, there is some small ripple, it is known. I was also telling about some electron microscope. This electron moves and then creates some sort of, it leaves some sort of trail. So by seeing that trail only, you notice the functioning of an electron, how it moves, what is the pattern, etc., etc. So unless there is this trail, you will not know the presence of an electron there. So like that. So sa atma sarva bodhan prati buddhyate, it is known through them. Then here it is a very important statement. Sarva pratyayadarshi chit shakti swarupamatraha pratyayaireva pratyayeshu
प्रत्ययैरेव प्रत्ययेषु
अविशिष्टतया लक्ष्यते
अविशिष्टतया लक्ष्यते
नान्यत् द्वारम् अंतर आत्मनो विज्ञानाय.
न अन्यत् द्वारम् अन्तर आत्मनो विज्ञानाय.
So this line is a very important line. न अन्यत् द्वारम् अंतर आत्म विज्ञानाय. न अन्यत् द्वारम means there is no other way. There is no other dwaram. Dwaram means we know door. Dwara is door. There is no other door means there is no other way. Na anyat dwaram. Antara. Pratyayam antara. We have to supply that word. So, pratyayam antara. This antara is one avyaya which is used in dvitiya vibhakti. Krishnam antara. Krishnam antarena na mokshaha. We say Krishnam antara na mokshaha. Krishnam antarena na mokshaha. Unless you worship Krishna, there is no moksha. It's some example. Some such similar example is given in Panini's Vyakarana. Krishna is it Krishna or some other word is mentioned like that. Harim antara na moksha, something like that. That is antara and antarena. That is vina, means without. In the sense antara here means without. Without this, there is no other way. There is no other way to know this Atma Vijnana. Without what? Without Pratyaya. And that Pratyaya word has to be in Dvitiya Vibhakti. That is, what is that case? Objective case. So, Pratyayam Antara. Ramam Antara. Ramam Vina. Krishnam Vina. In that manner it has to be used. So, that word Pratyaya you have to note down. Nanyadwaram Antara Atmano Vijnanaya. You have to add a word called Nanyadwaram Pratyayam antara. You can write down a word if you want, so that when you read the bhashyam you should properly understand. Nanyadwaram Pratyayam antara. You can note it in brackets. So without Pratyaya there is no other way. Why? So he is saying Sarva Pratyaya Darshi. Come to the beginning of the line. This is the Sarva Pratyaya Darshi. Darshi means it is that which sees, which knows, which cognizes. Sarva Pratyaya Darshi. It is the witness to all the Pratyayas. All cognitions which are taking place in your mind from morning till night or in the middle of the sleep dream also. For all these Pratyayas, this consciousness is the medium. This consciousness is the witness for all these Pratyayas. Sarva Pratyaya Darshi. That is what is behind. Then on its own, what is its Swarupa? Chit Shakti Swarupa Matraha. Chit Shakti. Chit means intelligence. Chit, Chaitanyam, Samvit, all these words are synonyms. Chit, Samvit, Chaitanyam, Jnanam, these are all synonyms. Chit Shakti, that it has got that ability to illumine. So that ability to illumine is that Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti is that ability to illumine every pratyaya, every cognition. So that is that Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti Swarupa Matra. Swarupa means its nature. Its nature, the nature of this consciousness is, it is only Chit Shakti. It has just got the ability to illumine all these things just as the electricity. Then Swarupa Matra. Matra means only. It has no other dharma. The use of word matra indicates that Chit Shakti has no particular property. There is no vishesha. There is no dharma. Dharma means not that dharma and adharma. Dharma means property. That is characteristic. So it has no other characteristic. Then pratyayaireva pratyayeshu avisishtataya lakshyate. By these pratyayas, by these cognitions, pratyayaireva lakshyate. Lakshyate means it is indicated. Where is it indicated? Pratyayeshu only we indicated. Pratyayaihi lakshyate. Where? Pratyayeshu. In these cognitions only. Pratyayaihi, pratyayeshu. Pratyayaihi is trutiya vibhakti. Pratyayeshu is saptami vibhakti. By these cognitions it is known. Where? In the cognitions. By the cognitions it is known. In the cognitions. How? Avishishtataya. Avishishtataya means nirvishesha rupena. Nirvishesha rupena. There is no visheshanam for that. Avishishtataya, because there is no, they are not the visheshanam for this Atma. You see all these pratyayas, they are not the visheshanam for the Atma. Avishishtataya. In other words, through this Savishesha you are seeing the Nirvishesha. You understand the words Savishesha and Nirvishesha? Savishesha means something which is having characteristics is Savishesha. Brahma is Nirvishesham, isn't it? Nirvishesham Brahma, Nirvishayam Brahma. So there is no Vishaya in that, there is no Vishesha in that. Vishesha means any characteristic in that. So that Nirvishesham Brahma, how is it known? It is known only through this Savishesha. Again, coming to the example of Duryodhana walking on that pond, unless there is some small ripple, you can't distinguish. So there is a very, very clear water. Unless there is some small ripple, you can't know there is something. So that is it. So, Pratyayeshu Avisishtataya in its Nirvishesha Rupa. You can note down if you want, because these are words. If you do not know now, you will be, again you will feel it, you will think it is confusing. Nirvisheshataya, Avisishtataya, you can write down in its Nirvishesha Rupa. In its Nirvishesha Rupa. Nirvishesha Rupa, you know. Avisishtataya. Or indistinguishably, that is another way of saying it also. Indistinguishably. Lakshyate. Lakshyate means it is indicated. You see, there is no way to define Brahma. It can be indicated. You also know this Tatastha Lakshana and Swarupa Lakshana. Swarupa Lakshana is something which cannot be known. It is pure consciousness. It cannot be known. Something like electricity. Then, what is this the indicator? Indicator is some upadhi, some medium. That medium is this. What is this? Pratyaya. Pratyaya is the medium. Pratyaya is the upadhi through which it is known. So, Avisishtataya lakshyate. It is a lakshanam. It is a lakshanam. Whether it is there or not, it is there. The Brahma is always there. Whether Pratyaya is there or not, Brahma is always there. It is not that Brahma is not there when Pratyaya is not there. But when you want to know it, it is through Pratyaya that you know. There is no other way to know Pratyaya, no other way to realize that thing. So that is it. So in fact, in the last class I was also telling about Vidyaranya, sage Vidyaranya's shloka, a wonderful shloka from sage Vidyaranya. Yasmin yasmin asti bodhe, yasmin asti loke bodhaha, tattad upekshane yad bodhamatram tad brahma. That is from the third chapter, 3-21, I was saying that, you must have noted, 3-21, Panchadashi, Vedanta Panchadashi, there is a shloka which says, Yasmin yasmin asti loke bodhaha. Bodha is again the same word here. What is this? Bodha shabdena bauddham, pratibodha viditam. What is told in pratibodha viditam is used by Vidyaranya in the same sense. That is 3-21, you can note down. In whatever cognition, yasmin asti loke bodha, in whatever object or in whatever cognition is there, if you negate that cognition, if you negate the nama rupa, what remains? Negate the nama rupa means negate the jada aspect of it, negate the insentient aspect of it. Then what remains is Brahma. What remains is that consciousness. Yad bodhamatram. Bodhamatram means without any other add-ons. Whatever remains is that Brahma. Yad bodhamatram tad Brahma, he says. So the same meaning. Na anyat dvaram atmano vijnanaya. Is it clear? Okay, then let us see. Ataha pratyaya pratyagatmataya viditam brahma yada tada tan matam tat samyak darshanam ityarthaha. So in other words, Shankaracharya is explaining. This is all Siddhanta. As I said, Shankaracharya is telling the Siddhanta first, and then he will go to say what is this other doctrines, that is what the logicians say, what the Buddhists are going to say. That of course we will see in the next class. The next two lines also we will complete now. So ataha pratyaya pratyagatmataya viditam brahma. This word pratyaya pratyagatma, you have to understand that. Pratyayanam pratyagatma. Pratyayeshu yat pratyag vartate tat. Yaha, because atma is a pumlinga. Pratyayeshu yaha pratyak vartate saha atma. That is this Brahma. So you can note down also if you want. Pratyaya pratyagatma is the very self of every pratyaya. The very self of every pratyaya. So pratyaya pratyagatmataya means in that manner, when it is known as the self of every cognition. So that is what is pratyaya pratyagatmataya. Viditam Brahma yada means when Brahma is known, when Brahma is understood as the very self of every cognition, tada, then tat matam. Tan matam means tat matam. Matam means samyak darshanam. That is real understanding. Tat samyak darshanam iti arthaha. So that is the meaning here. Then, is it okay? Sarva pratyaya darshitvecha
सर्व प्रत्यय दर्शित्वे च
upajanana apaya varjita
उपजनन अपाय वर्जित
druk swarupata
दृक् स्वरूपता
nityatvam
नित्यत्वं
vishuddha swarupatvam
विशुद्ध स्वरूपत्वं
atmatvam
आत्मत्वं
निर्विशेष तैकत्वं च
निर्विशेष तैकत्वं च
सर्वभूतेषु
सर्वभूतेषु
सिद्धं भवेत्
सिद्धं भवेत्
लक्षण भेदाभावात्
लक्षण भेदाभावात्
व्योम्न इव
व्योम्नैव
घटगिरि गुहादिषु.
घटगिरि गुहादिषु.
Okay, first we will take the example given. Vyomna iva ghatagiri guhadishu. You take the space Vyoma. Vyoma means sky. You take the sky or space, let us say. Ghatagiri guha. So you see this space in a ghata. Ghata means a pot. Giri or a hillock you see. Sorry, Giri guha. Giri guhadishu. Giri guha means you have a cave in a mountain. So there is a mountain, say mountainous cave, mountain cave. So in that cave also there is space. In this ghatam also there is space. There is no separate lakshana for akasha. Akasha cannot be broken. Akasha cannot be defined. How can we define akasha? There is no shape. Akasha, because that is why whenever we want to describe Brahman, Vedanta always takes the example of Akasha. Of course, modern teachers take the example of electricity, etc., etc. But when we want to tell the point that this is, Brahma is something which cannot be differentiated, it cannot be made into parts. Avacheda, there cannot be any avacheda or delimitation in that. So, when we want to drive home that point, we take the example of Akasha. So here, Vyomna iva ghata giri guhadishu. So whether it is a pot or whether it is a mountain cave, you can't make any distinction between this in this akasha, because lakshana bheda abhavat. There is no change. Lakshana bheda. There is no lakshana bheda. There is no change in its nature. This lakshana bheda can be understood in two ways. There is no change in its lakshana. There is no change in its lakshana. You can say like that. Or you can also say there is no lakshana or bheda. There is no lakshana or bheda in akasha. There is no lakshana means akasha cannot be defined. There is no bheda. You can't break it. You can't make it into parts. So both ways it can be interpreted. Simply you can say lakshana bheda bhavat, because there is no change in its nature whether it is a pot or whether it is a cave. Lakshana bheda bhavat vyomna iva ghatagiri guhadishu. So this thing you see it applied to Brahma. What is it? Sarva pratyaya darshitvecha. You come back to that first line. Sarva pratyaya darshitvecha. Earlier he said Sarva pratyaya darshi. That is, he is the witness for all cognition. Sarva pratyaya darshitvam means that state of being a witness to all cognitions. Only when that thing is there, Sarva pratyaya darshitve means in such a case, upajanana apaya varjita druk swarupata. So then only you can say that Brahma is a druk swarupam. Brahma is pure druk. Now you are using the word druk and drushya. All other things are drushya, the knower. That is druk swarupata. The only druk swarupa is that of Brahman, isn't it? There is only one druk. There are so many drushyas. Druks are not too many. You and I may be two people, but the druk is one and the same. There may be millions and millions of people, but the druk is one and the same. There is no difference in druk. So this the druk swarupata, where is this line? Sarva pratyaya darshitvecha upajanana apaya varjita druk swarupata. There is no upajananam, there is no apaya. Upajananam means increase. Apaya means decrease. Upajana apaya. There is no increase and decrease. There is no change. This druk swarupata is always same. Upajanana apaya varjita druk swarupata. Then nityatvam. This is something which is beyond time. Nitya is eternal. Eternal means beyond time. Then vishuddha swarupatvam. It is not affected by any other thing. All the other, say the upadhis may be affected by various other changes. Upadhis, jata, janma, jara, mrityu, all these changes may be there. Whereas this Atma is something which is Vishuddha. It is untouched by all these bhava vikaras. 6 bhava vikaras we come across, isn't it? Jayate, vardhate, asti, vardhate, then apachiyate, nashyati, etc., etc. All those vikaras, it is not undergoing any such vikara, it is not undergoing any change. So that is why it is called Vishuddha Swarupatvam. Then Atmatvam. Atmatvam means this is the self of all. This is the self of all. All, not only cognitions. Cognition means a person. So cognition actually means a person only. So this is the self of everything. So Atmatvam cha nirvishesha taikatvam. So this nirvishesha, it is though it is the self of all, it is nirvishesha. It is not touched by that. It is illumining it, just as Suryo yatha sarvalokasya chakshuhu. We have seen in Kathopanishad also, just as the light falls on Surya, sun's light falls on every object equally, and then but at the same time, na lipyate chakshushair bahya doshaihi. So it is untouched by all these defects. So that is how this Chaitanya is something which is untouched, nirvishesha. Nirvishesha taikatvam cha sarvabhuteshu siddham bhavet. Siddham bhavet means it becomes, it becomes justified. Siddham bhavet. It can be derived. Siddham. Sadhanam siddham, isn't it? Sadhana is deriving. Siddham is that can be derived. So all this property, all these characteristics of this Atman, all this, the Atman is something which is Nirvishesha, something which is Vishuddha Swarupa, this is Druk Swarupa, all these things, they can be derived only when it is a Sarva Pratyaya Darshi. It is just a witness to all. It is untouched by anything. It is just a witness, it is the illuminer of all, it is untouched by anything. Only then it's all these say adjectives will become appropriate, all these adjectives will be derived properly. Then Lakshana Bheda Bhavad Vyam Naiva, this I explained. Then Vidita Viditabhyam Anyat Brahma iti
Vidita Viditabhyam Anyat Brahma iti
Agama Vakyartha एवं परिशुद्धः एव उपसंहृतो भवति. So this agama vakyartham means this shruti vakyam. Agama is shruti only. Agama vakyartham, this shruti vakyarthaha evam means in this manner parishuddhaha eva upasamhruto bhavati. It will be very perfectly concluded here. Parishuddha means very perfectly, without any sort of defect. Parishuddha eva upasamhruto bhavati means it gets concluded here, it gets validated here. How? Let us see, what is that? Vidita viditabhyam anyat. How is it? Let us see. Vidita aviditabhyam anyat brahma. This sentence is being validated only when you understand this Brahma as the Pratyagatma of every, say, Vritti, Pratyagatma of every Pratyaya. How is it? Because when we say Vidita means something which is known. Here, we are not knowing Brahma as an object. We are knowing definitely, but we are not knowing Brahma as an object of knowledge. Ultimately, Pratibodha Viditam, in that Pratibodha Viditam, we are realizing Brahma. Now you and I have realized Brahma. Having studied this sloka, mantra, you meditate on this mantra. This is basically, as I said, it is a mantra for meditation. So, for us, we are now not realizing Brahma as something which is an object of knowledge. So, this is Viditad Anyat. Is it clear? Vidita Viditabhyam Anyat, that sentence is going to be concluded. It is going to be safely or properly concluded. That is what he says. How? Now we know that this thing, it is something which is not an object of cognizance. That is Viditat Anyat. Then Aviditad Anyat. Not that it is not realizable at all. We have realized it. We have realized it as the very self of everything. So that is why it is Aviditad Anyat. So Atma is very much realizable because it is in every cognition. It is the soul, and not soul. The soul is a wrong word again. It is the Atma. It is the self of every cognition. So that is how iti upasamhruto bhavati. Then that sentence gets properly concluded, very properly validated. That is the meaning. Then drushter drashta,
दृष्टे द्रष्टा
श्रुते श्रोता,
श्रुते श्रोता
मतेर मंता,
मतेर मंता
विज्ञातेर विज्ञाता,
विज्ञातेर विज्ञाता
iti hi shrutyantaram.
इति हि श्रुत्यन्तरम्
Iti hi, because there is another shrutyantaram. Shrutyantaram means another shruti, another Upanishad. What is that? That Brihadaranyaka Upanishad which says, this line we have come across earlier also. Drushter drashta, shrute shrota, mater manta, vijnater vijnata, all those things. That is, drushte drashta. That is, you have this faculty called drushti, the sense of seeing. What is it that is illumining this faculty? This is this Brahma Chaitanya only. That is drushte drashta. It is the seer of seeing. Then shrute shrota. Shruti means not scripture. Shruti means the sense of hearing. Shrute shrota. So this is the illuminer of that sense of hearing. Then mater manta. This faculty of say conceptualizing. Manana means manas is, that is what are its duties? That is sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. So this sankalpa vikalpatmakam, he is again illumined by this consciousness only. Then vijnater vijnata, one who knows, one who understands it. So that faculty of understanding again is illumined by this thing only. So this is that Shrutyantaram, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. We will stop here. Then this other Purva Pakshas we will start in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.